lights are out and you stumble in the dark. You kept pushing on, but then you went too far. When your ship has sailed and all your dreams are lost, everything is wrong, you feel like it's your fault. Just remember, I will be there for you, baby. Remember, there's nothing out there to get you, don't forget it. When life throws lemons, just call me. Just call me. Just call me. You're stronger now than you ever been. You gotta leave now, it's time to catch the wind. You will climb up high and look through the clouds. And when you're feeling low, I know you'll bounce back. Oh, and just remember, I will be there for you, baby. Remember, there's nothing out there to get you, don't forget it. When life throws lemons, just call me. Just call me. Just call me. Just call me.
Ricmotech, high-performance sim racing equipment. There's only one place to go, Ricmotech.com.
After one of the most impressive road races of the season last week at Watkins Glen, we now come to Sin City in the Las Vegas Motor Speedway for round number 4 of the Ricmotech Cup Series. Good evening, everybody. My name is Tony Trapasso. Up with me in the booth here tonight is my good partner in crime, the man, the myth, the living legend himself, Mr. Frank Marchese. And Frank, it's been a long time since you've been in a Ricmotech booth.
Yeah, since the end of last season. It's quite nice to be back, I will say.
Good to have you back, my friend. With just a few minutes left in the warm-up session, the hot lap session, as they're finishing the drivers' meeting, we are going to take a quick look at the point standings coming into tonight. As there you see him right there. Brian Senesac sitting atop the pile with 130 points. GT Hawkins, 128. Michael Thwaites, Clifton Cockrell, and DJ Weeks rounding out your top 5. It's still pretty tight here after only 3 races, so expect some gaps to form different places and expect some drivers to be shuffled around here as the season wears on, as we come to the very high-speed tri-oval that is Vegas.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's also going to be quite a nice-sized field here tonight. We've got 27 drivers out here and ready to go tonight. So it's going to be a fun little show here this evening.
It is at that, as just waiting for the last few seconds to tick down here. About 2 minutes left in the Hot Lab session, as taking a quick look at the running order right now. Mike Rominger sitting atop the pile in practice with a 21.93, almost 70 thousandths to the good over Jeremy Clifton, who sits in second. Mark Hanna, Scott Ramler, and David Clayman rounding out your top five as they currently sit. Now, Frank, this is one of those tracks where you really have to mind the right front tire.
Yeah, absolutely. And especially in these cars as well, you're going to be going so fast. You're going to have so much pressure on the right side of these cars, especially as it gets later and later on in the run. Down in 3 and 4, it's going to get really, really loose down there out of turn 2. It's also going to get pretty wicked loose. So keeping the right sides on these cars tonight is going to be absolutely paramount.
It absolutely is. We're going to take a quick look at tonight's weather conditions to see how big of an issue that's going to be. 69-degree, relatively cool temperatures for the greater Las Vegas Metroplex. 15% relative humidity, real dry air, 11-mile-an-hour wind blowing straight out of turn 2. That is going to wreak havoc on these guys, as the Nellis back straightaway is hard enough to get a run down with no wind, let alone a 11-mile-an-hour wind pushing the tail end of the car around.
Yeah, absolutely. And with these cars, again, you get so loose at the end of the run coming out of turn 2 and in turn 4, but it is a lot more noticeable in turn 2. It does become very, very difficult towards the tail end of a tire stint to get the power down coming off of the corner. So it's going to make it even more difficult now with that wind going the way it is.
It absolutely is. And the other thing that's not going to play into the hands of the drivers is we've got a 94-degree track temperature. Now, the cool air is, and the fact that it's cloudy skies right now are the only thing that are saving this track, as it's 94-degree track temperature. Not the hottest we've seen, but a little higher than the normal operating range for the tires from Goodyear.
It's still going to wreak a little bit of havoc, and as this race progresses, the temperature should go down a little bit. At the beginning, it's going to get hot with all the cars going around it, but as this race progresses and the ambient temperature goes down, that track temperature will also start to cool off as well.
It absolutely is at that, as qualifying getting ready to get underway here. And here we see the first one starting to roll. That is Scott Ramler in the 57 Ford Mustang.
James Byrne on track as well. Jeff Taylor, Mark Hanna, Christian Gomez, John Sterling, Jeremy Clifton among the first bunch.
Clifton Cockrell out there as well. And we're going to want to keep an eye on Mark Hurricane Hanna tonight, as this is a track that's really going to fall into his wheelhouse. We saw Rambler have some good moments over the last couple of weeks, especially last week at Watkins Glen, he's kind of a road course ringer in this series.
Yeah, absolutely. And Rambler, a little bit of contact out of 2. And again, you try, one way to kind of mitigate how loose you get off of the corners is you kind of just let the car walk up. But when you're on that outside line already, it doesn't give you a lot of room to walk if that car starts to break free on you. And that's exactly what happened there with the 57 of Rambler.
It is at that, as the first lap to be laid down, is that last lap was negated for Rambler. Christian Gomez, and there goes Hurricane Hanna. David Elliott now to the top of the pile. Time's coming in quick and fast right now, as Hanna and Thwaites both tied at 30.26.
And there is Hanna right there, coming through 3 and 4 right now.
Rambler went purple in the second sector there.
Goes
Rambler to the top of the pile.
30.07. It's going to take a otherworldly lap here from these guys. Here comes the 45 of Hanna crossing the line. Improves, but not a lot. David Elliott does improve as well. Elliott goes to the point in the 42.
It was a hell of a run for Primetime Motorsports there. As we are going to follow along with Max Shade right now. There you see him in the 9 Ford Mustang coming through to complete his first flyer. Lap 1 for
17th.
Shade. 17th.
Alan Hilton, fastest of all the first half of the lap. 6th on his first attempt, and Hilton will go to the pole. A 30.04 for the 8.
Very nice run there. As we are going to check in with the boss man. That is one of the co-owners of Sim Racing Media and the eSports Broadcasting Network. John Leach in the 86 tonight, as Trading Paints is not playing fairly.
Mike Rominger up to 3rd on his second lap. Here comes Leach. This will be his second lap. Or pardon me, this will be his 3rd lap. He's already done with qualifying. Will qualify 19th at the moment. Brandon Shirley crossing the line in the 85. As there's Wes Gant in the 11 about to start his first lap.
Clayman jumps up to 4th quick with a purple sector in the 2nd sector of the track. So gave it away in the first half of the track, made it up in the second half. Let's see what Gant can do here.
Dennis Weeks, Wes Gant, GT Hawkins, Brian Wasserman, the only 4 drivers that have not posted a qualifying time as of yet. Gant about to post. GT Hawkins sitting on pit road. Weeks and Wasserman have not even gone to pit road yet, as here comes Gant to complete lap number 1.
It's going to be a solid first lap. Only gives him 20th, as looking to pick it up on lap number 2.
Only a quarter of a second off of first place, which is not all that much in the grand scheme of things between 1st and 20th.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, that's hell, less than a tenth between first and 21st. Make that 23rd less than a tenth.
Gant will improve up to 13th as Dennis Weeks in the 97 rolls out on track.
In the Autism Awareness Chevy Camaro. And you saw how coming through 1 and 2, he really had to, he couldn't go up onto the banking like you see in the real world qualifying, because iRacing has that apron rule when exiting the pits. You have to stay below the apron until you pass the blue cone, and then you can jump up. So first flyer for Weeks as he's on the clock. This looks like a strong run so far.
Brandon Shirley is done with his qualifying attempt in 10th as Weeks run the outside to try to pick up as much momentum as he possibly can on this first lap. Super Speedway tactics here.
Trying to get that gerbil up to speed as quickly as he can that's under the hood of that Chevy. I kid. You know I kid.
Oh, I know you do.
Cross the line first.
Slowest of all, but as to be expected.
Yeah, considering he was way off the qualifying groove. Now he's down in that bottom lane, letting the car run, coming off the corner. A little bit of tail wag as he enters the Nellis back straightaway into turn number 3 with a good head of steam. This is definitely going to improve on his time. The question is, how much?
Is your timer at the top on, or am I just not seeing it?
Timer at the top glitches on me every time I try it.
Well, there you go.
So
as Dennis Weeks crosses the line, he will go up to 8th.
GT Hawkins
Solid
out on
run.
track.
So we still have, it's a 10-minute qualifying session. We still have 3 minutes 45 seconds to go. So Hawkins still has plenty of time, as does Brian Wasserman.
They do at that.
What you can see there, just 100th of a second separating first and third.
Absolutely.
Very, very close times up at the top.
This is amazing to watch. You know, just how close everybody is. You see Hawkins sitting in the green. That's his personal best lap, as it's his first lap.
25th.
Kind of the
On the
same thing
first
that we've
lap?
been seeing a lot of people give away on the first lap to get those cars wound up. He's got that Toyota right down on the white line coming through 1 and 2, hugging the wall down the Nellis back straightaway. You can see that how just bumpy that back straightaway is with the independent suspension on these cars.
Yeah, he was really wiggling in 1 and 2 there, I saw, as he comes off of 4 here. Down below the line, and GT will better his first lap. He will go from 25th to 22nd in the number 14, and that leaves Brian Wasserman 2.5 minutes to set a lap.
And while we are waiting on Wasserman to make an attempt at qualifying, we are going to throw it trackside to Mr. Terry Adams for tonight's national anthem. Clearing. And that was Terry Adams with tonight's national anthem. Looks like qualifying going to be done and dusted, as there is not enough time left in the session to try to lay down a lap if you aren't already out on track. And nobody's out on track right now. But Frank, the closeness of this qualifying, you're seeing a lot of times right on top of each other. That is a double-edged sword. It's either going to lead to very good racing, or the other thing that we don't like to talk about.
Well, these cars do like it. These things do like pack racing. The flat bottoms on these cars, you can run them a little bit closer. If you get the right group of people together, which I see no reason why this would not be the right group of people, this should make for quite an entertaining night, whichever way it goes.
Absolutely. As we're going to take a look at tonight's qualifying order here, as we're just waiting for a few stragglers to grid on up. Starting up on the point, driving the number 8 Chevy Camaro is going to be Alan Hilton. He was 5 1,000ths to the good over the 42 of David Elliott. Mike Rominger and Dave Clayman going to make up row number 2. Hilton finally gridding there in the 8. We're still waiting on Rominger. There he goes. Row number 3 is going to go to Scott Rambler and Greg Carr. Row 4 is going to give us Michael Thwaites in the 12 and the 97 of Dennis Weeks Jr. Adam Kapp and Alonzo King going to make up row number 5. Frank?
That would mean Brandon Shirley and David Miller will make up row number 6. Row 7 goes to Alex Carr and Wes Gant. Jeremy Clifton and Bryce Senizak will make up row number 8. Row 9 goes to James Byrne and Christian Gomez. That would be row 9. Row 10 goes to John Sterling and Mark Hanna. Row 11 will see GT Hawk and Ryan King. Clifton Cockrell and Maxwell Shade will make up row 12. Row 13 goes to Brian Wasserman and Jonathan Leach, with Jeff Taylor at the back of... it'll go Maxwell Shade and Jeff Taylor will make up row 13. Cockrell and Leach in row 14. Wasserman at the back with no time.
Right. So 27 cars scheduled to roll here tonight at Las Vegas. 75% fuel fill, 5 sets of tires to get them through tonight. As the lights are already out on the official iRacing pace car. There's a couple of stragglers there not getting tightened up a little bit. As the field works its way into the 3-4 complex, you can say it with me, folks. The only thing left for me to say is it's time to wipe the visor and adjust the 5-point harness. Grandma, get off your favorite slot machine and get your butt to the track, because it's time to get it on in Sin City. Race fans, it's showtime!
Waiting for the restart zone. There it is, and off goes Alan Hilton. First of 167 circulations around the Vegas Motor Speedway here tonight, and off into turn 1. Not a big run for David Elliott in that 42. As a matter of fact, that whole outside line seemed to have fallen off.
They have it that.
Coming back now. Just barely able to keep the lead, as that's Mike Rominger in that number 29. A lot of aggression out of Rominger in that Chevrolet number 29. Chevrolet, go figure. Yes.
Uh-oh.
Back. Oh, big accident in the back. 27 in the wall. 14.
Looks like Leach caught a piece of that one too. Let's take a look at what did happen here. This is what Christian Gomez saw.
Coming out of 4 on the first lap. It's at 09 of Bryce Senizak is there. So is Gavin.
Oh, baby.
Oh. At 26 took a wild ride.
Yeah, let's go back and see that again. Come on.
26 got bumped by somebody out in front of him.
And we're going to go back and take a look at that right now, as here we are seeing Alex Carr.
He's got the 1 right behind him. It's Jeremy Clifton.
77's got a run.
Oh, what the world happened there?
I have no idea. But I clicked the wrong car.
26. The 26 just lost it out of the tri-oval.
Well, let's keep an eye on him. There you see him on the low side.
He's not coming up off the... He just lost it.
Interesting.
That checks up to 27, which then the 77 runs into him. Then it's the 3 and the 86 into the 14. A little bit further behind.
It is at that. As we're gonna. This is what we're seeing from above. You can see the 26 get loose there. He shoots down the track. Everybody else trying to take evasive action. The 1 checks up, and nobody behind him even touched the brake.
Yeah,
and no, Frank, your eyes are not deceiving you. John Sterling is driving a GM Goodwrench Service Plus Ford Mustang.
Yeah, I saw that.
So, under caution number 1 here, we are going to step away, pay a couple bills, and we'll be back right after this.
Ricmotech high-performance sim racing equipment. Whether you're just looking to have fun, train for race day, or become a serious eSports competitor, Ricmotech has you covered. Hundreds of name-brand parts. Support from experts that love sim racing. Trusted by the pros. There's only one place to go, Ricmotech.com. Ricmotech high-performance sim racing equipment. There's only one place to go, Ricmotech.com.
Allow extreme scoring to do the work for you.
And we are back at Las Vegas as the pace car peels on off, ending caution number 1. And Frank, I believe you got an update from the tower.
Yeah, we do have a couple of penalties as we are back and rolling again here at Vegas. The 77 of James Byrne was deemed to have been the cause of that incident, so he got an EOL, which dropped him to the back of the field from 12. Also, the 17 of Brian Wasserman at some point here in the near future will have to serve a black flag for passing under the yellow.
Absolutely is. They're getting single filed up towards the front of this piece. Rominger leading the way in the Chevy Camaro, number 29. He's got Prime Time's David Elliott right behind him. Go ahead, Frank.
Greg Carr in the back there having a little bit of an issue in the 25.
Looks like he went off track. Let's go back and take a look at what did happen to Carr here real quick.
Yeah, he was real. Oh, wow.
He's way off track.
Yeah, he got loose.
He went off track 3 times.
Yeah, he got loose coming off of 4 is all that means. There he is. Yep, just back in. Just wouldn't stay with him.
And it's that cross breeze blowing through 4 and 2 that have really caught everybody out.
Those are the 2 big ones.
As we are going to go back live here now.
Time up, by the way.
Oh, crap.
There you go.
Thank you for catching that. I'd like to thank everybody for joining us in the live chat tonight. If you haven't done so already, give this video a thumbs up, because it really helps share these videos with the YouTube algorithm. As we've got a battle for second, hot and heavy now, with Cap and Elliott.
Adam Capps in that 55 on the inside, Elliott in the 42. Saw the 17 coming out of pit road. Also the 10 of Clifton Cockrell getting black flag, changing lanes on the restart.
There he is, being scored as the last car on the lead lap, and now the first car 1 lap down.
Drive-through penalty for that, number 10.
Back up towards the middle of the top 10. Alonzo King and David Clayman going after each other for 7th. The 2 teammates just slugging it out. Bryce Senezak right there on the top shelf.
And Bryce Senezak had a very good run, was a part of the Championship 4 at the end of the Truck Series season last season. Back in, what was that, May?
Yes.
April, the end of April, early May?
Yes.
Side by side with David Clayman in the 15.
He is at that, and right in front of him, that's King and Weeks going after each other. And now they're working their way around the lap car of the 10.
Know that 97 is very, very good, especially as the run gets longer. So Weeks just waiting for this race to go green a little bit. See what he can do is side by side between Alan Hilton and David Elliott. That would be for 3rd between these 2.
Hilton trying to claw his way back towards the front of this piece, as everybody else kind of just riding right now, with the exception of the man in the 14. There you see him right there is GT Park in that 14 Toyota Camry.
Wrong league, sir.
Huh? Oh, GT Hawkins. GT Hawkins. I apologize, GT. But GT currently plus 12, sitting in 10th.
Michael Thwaites.
Oh! That was almost a moment.
Michael Thwaites in that 12 as well on the outside line. He was 3 wide with the 42, I believe, and also with the 10. Getting that 10 not for position there, as that 42 of David Elliott continues a backward slide.
He's already dropped 3 positions. The other one is the 15 of Clayman. Unfortunately, he's already dropped 5.
he's about to lose another one to Dennis Weeks as there's the 10. Wow, the 14 really ran that 15 of Clayman down the track. Clayman stuck with it, though, stayed on the inside. The 14 on the outside line, looking to take the momentum, looking to take the run. And at least at the line, he has him.
He does at that. And Scott Rambler, I believe, took an EOL before we went green for the race, as he is mired right now back in 18th, sitting at minus 13, and he wasn't involved in the caution.
I think Rambler came into pit, actually.
That would do it.
John Sterling still repairing crash damages. That 14 and 15 not giving each other too much room through 3 and 4. Hawkins on the outside, Clayman on the inside.
And they got Wes Gant right there with them.
Yep, here comes Sterling in that 3, by the way. And yeah, very interested spectator in Wes Gant sitting right behind him.
That's putting a lot of faith in netcode right there. And the 15 wisely backs out of it, living to fight another day. But that could have ended all sorts of poorly, as GT Hawkins was about 30 degrees sideways coming through 2.
They were all very, very close and very, very loose, as side by side up towards the front. That is Dennis Weeks and Michael Thwaite, but even closer up towards the front, Alan Hilton in the 8th, the 55 of Adam Kapp as well, or pardon me, that's Kapp and Elliott.
That's
going
Alonzo,
side by side.
That's Alonzo King now throwing it to the inside.
That's Elliott behind them. Again, really not giving each other any form of room whatsoever.
That is putting a ton of faith in netcode, and I would be white-knuckled behind the wheel right now, especially if that happens.
Yeah, I was going to say, especially after that, as David Elliott disappears.
And he hasn't reappeared yet.
No, he is not. Still have that car length gap, just in case he does. There.
Oh, my goodness. He disappeared for almost the entirety of that lap.
Yep, and he's up to the outside and backing out. As there goes the 14 of GT Hawkins around Dennis Weeks on the inside.
Not again. Ladies and gentlemen, we're going to have to step away for a quick commercial break, as my computer just locked up. We'll be back right after this.
Ricmotech, high performance sim.
The search is over. The most comprehensive oval scoring solution is here. Featuring oval playoffs, adjust drivers per round, custom number of rounds, custom playoff points, provisionals, optional win and you're in, custom playoff displays, rookie championships, optional minimum participation, and load those results in seconds. Visit extremescoring.info today. Allow Extreme Scoring to do the work for you.
Ricmotech, high-performance sim racing equipment. Whether you're just looking to have fun, train for race day, or become a serious eSports competitor, Ricmotech has you covered. Hundreds of name-brand parts. Support from experts that love sim racing. Trusted by the pros. There's only one place to go, Ricmotech.com. Ricmotech high-performance sim racing equipment. There's only one place to go, Ricmotech.com.
Allow extreme scoring to do the work for you.
Sorry for the technical difficulties, folks. We are back now at Vegas, working lap 25 of 167 for round number 4 of the Ricmotech Cup Series here from Sin City. Joint your pastor Frank Marchese up in the booth with you for this one. And Frank, they didn't miss much.
Yeah, no, these guys have gotten single-filed out pretty much all the way through the top 15. There's close racing, but no side-by-side racing as we're starting to see little pairs start to form up. The top 6 are in pairs. I would say the top 8, actually. Wes Gant is right there as we see Michael Thwaites and Alonzo King battling side-by-side just for third. But yeah, this race has started to single file out now.
Which you kind of expect this deep into a tire run here at Vegas. This is where the elbows start to come up and you're really having to manhandle the car.
Absolutely, and trying to worrying about corner exit especially is what these guys are going to be working on. As Thwaites keeping it down on the bottom, right down on that bottom, giving King as much room as he needs. King, though, with the outside line momentum, still able to hold the spot at least for right now.
He is at that. This is your closest battle on track, folks. As that is King on the top, King on the top shelf, Thwaites on the low side, and all that side-by-side stuff is done is brought GT Hawkins to them.
It brought the group of Hawkins and Elliott to them. 55 of Adam Capps starting to come back into this as well.
Oh,
Dennis
no.
Weeks and Gant, yep, now another connection issue, this time for Alonzo King. There he is, up by the wall.
King did the right thing. He went up by the wall because he couldn't see anybody.
At 14 and the 42 are also going to take a lot of advantage.
Well, you know, we talk about it a lot where if you know you're blinking to kind of back out of it and not ruin someone else's race. That's exactly what King is doing right now as the 17, Brian Wasserman, trying to make his way back towards the front of this piece to hopefully get his lap back. The 97 of Dennis Weeks up there, as is the 3 of John Sterling.
Sterling multiple laps down after fixing damage from that first lap incident. The 17 also a couple of laps down, having to hit under green to serve a passing under yellow black flag.
Just outside your top 10, we've got this side-by-side battle going on. It's Wes Grant and Alex Carr going after each other.
It was very, very close, and a big run for the 15 of Clayman. Clayman getting blocked off by the 26 going down the back straightaway. The 85 of Brandon Shirley right there. So is the 21 of David Miller just behind these guys.
They are at that. Is David's mom checking in on the live chat. We'd like to have you joining us. Thank you so much, everybody, for tuning in tonight. Let us know who your favorite driver is. We'll try to highlight them throughout this race at some point. But right now, Clayman not doing too shabby as, just barely sitting outside the top 10. But there is a ton of racing left in this one.
He's down 9 spots from where he started. However, track conditions have changed a little bit from where they were in qualifying, where he qualified up in 4th, as there's the 55 of Adam Capps trying to keep this group behind him. Scott Rambler, who came into pit during that caution, already back up inside the top 10, up in 9th right now in that number 57. He's just behind the 17.
He is at that as see Elliott trying to make something happen on the top shelf. Has absolutely no drafting help down the front chute, though. So here comes Weeks looking to his inside. Something has happened with Elliott because he has just continued to backslide ever since the green came back out.
Well, it was the connection issues that he had that forced him up there to try to get out of the way, and he just has not been able to, until right this moment, has not been able to get back down to the inside line.
King having a similar struggle in the 80s. We saw him disappear for almost a full lap as well. But at the three again of Sterling really trying to work, try to get some of his laps back. He's quite a number of laps down. He is.
Fixing that damage.
As he's leading that charge for that second little grouping, as there is a second and a half between Adam Capps, Alonzo King, and GT Hawkins, who sits in fourth. King and Capps going door to door right there, as now they get that one sorted out. Is King going to wrestle the spot away as Capps now falls back into the clutches of Elliott and Weeks.
Who else is jumping into that group as well? That's the 09 of Bryce Senizak right at the back, running in 10th.
Scott Rambler up there as well.
Boy, Senizak had a big loose moment coming out of turn 2.
Luckily, there was nobody inside him, so he was able to chase that down the hill. Elliott and Weeks door to door right now. Rominger under heavy pressure, though, at the front of this piece, as Hilton and Thwaites both right on him.
Now Alan Hilton's very quick, got the pole here. Rominger fastest through practice. So these two guys up here at the front as a big, tight condition for Rominger puts Thwaites right on the back bumper of the 29.
Did at that as now GT Hawkins is throwing his hat into the mix. And then you've got the lap car of Sterling sitting back there as well. He's currently, looking to get one of his laps back the hard way. Now, we say that, but it's more difficult than it sounds.
See, Hawkins started 22nd, running up in 4th now, as there you see John Sterling in the 3. Again, a lot fresher tires than these guys up in front of him, so he should make quick work of these guys to get one of his laps back. However, he's still about 3 laps off of Christian Gomez.
Hilton just had a moment.
26th. Boy.
Hilton was all sorts of sideways coming through the tri-oval portion of the track. And it's going to let Rominger get a run on him on the top shelf as Rominger has help from Thwaites. Hilton has help from Hawkins, as these guys aren't giving up yet.
Top 4 side by side up here at the front of this field. And again, John Sterling, I know he's got the fresher tires, but still doing the very sensible thing of just staying clear of these guys, as the Hawkins in that 14 really closing the gap on the bottom.
Went down there to try to get some clean air onto the radiator, picked up a little bit as, oh baby. Ooh. And another coat of paint, they would have been in trouble.
Thwaites got a good run.
Hilton to the point now. Hawkins up into second. Rominger looked like he almost got into the wall, had to jam on the binders. That's going to open the door for Sterling on the inside to get a run on the top 3. As now Hawkins makes a bid for the lead on the low side.
And he's got it too. Made that look very, very easy, did the 14. Hawkins did come in on lap 3, but that's a tire and fuel advantage. Well, that's
a fuel advantage.
Fuel. Yeah. That fuel advantage could have worn off by now.
Kinda.
Depending upon how hard he's been pushing it.
Right, but the other thing you got to keep in mind too, Hawkins right now is the only Toyota in a sea of bow ties there in the top 5. The next non-bow tie belongs to Adam Capps back in 6th. Scott Rambler's Blue Oval sits in 7th. And then it's a sea of Chevys back from 8th to 11th.
David Elliott and Brad Miller battling side by side for 10th. There those guys are. Dennis Weeks kind of chilling out there as well. There's Brandon Shirley in the 85. He's there too. Even further behind them, David Clayman and Jeremy Clifton side by side for 15th.
As Alex Carr gets 13th from Wes Gant. Elliott and... Oh. That's Elliott continuing to backslide. It's now the 85 works past him. That's Brandon Shirley up into 11th. Elliott back to 12th.
He seems pretty intent on running that outside as here he comes into the pits, actually. David Elliott in the 42. Down pit lane.
Greg Carr also going pit side as we're going to go back to this battle for the top 12. As here comes Carr on Gant. Gant on the top side in the 11 Valvoline Chevy Camaro. Carr on the low side is Clifton there as well. Clifton getting a better run off of 2. That's going to shuffle Carr back to 14th as Gant now has some breathing room.
Thwaites in, Rominger in, Caps in. So 2 of the guys from the top group have come down pit road.
As Hawkins and Hilton, and the only 2 that were in that grouping of 4 that did stay out. They're now 2 1/4 seconds to the good over third place Alonzo King, who's got a half a second to the good over Scott Rambler, who's 3/4 of a second over Bryce Senesac in 5th. King's in.
Oh, King's in the wall. No, King was in the wall. So's Rambler. Rambler with a lot of damage on the front end of that 57. Not sure if there was miscommunication. You see the damage on the rear of the 80. Well, it's already slow. You know, Rambler. Oh, yep, there it is.
There it is indeed, my friend.
The 80 was coming into pit road there, and
let's watch this from outside the car this time. Bang.
Yep. Misjudged the closing rate, I would assume.
Safe bet. And you can see the heavy front end damage there.
Alan Hilton in, Alonzo King in. Bryce Senesac coming in now.
And so we are back live. Hawkins still showing the way. There is Rambler, who currently sits in second. The only thing is, I don't know how much longer that 57 is going to last, because that was a shot that Mustang took.
5.5 second gap and growing up between the 14 and the race lead and second place Rambler.
It is at that as
boy, Dennis Weeks coming in. So is the 85 of Shirley.
Leach coming in now.
Oh, what on earth?
Where?
No, that was with Leach on pit entry, unless I saw something you didn't. The way his car jumped like that on pit entry. That was odd.
Well, let's go back and take a look at that.
And now overshoots the box, way too close to the wall. Oh, they're going to service him.
As soon as I can find him.
Rambler's coming in this time. Clifton coming in this time.
Well, this is what happened with Leach.
So again, I don't know. This might not be something you saw.
Oh, my! He just popped a wheelie. Out of nowhere.
Yeah, no, that was odd.
Very odd.
He hit a speed bump.
There's Leach coming out of the pits. Hawkins still out there, but I got to think he's hemorrhaging time right now. I know he's hoping for a caution so he can trap a ton of cars a lap down, but
with the wave around, it really wouldn't matter how many cars he traps a lap down. They're all going to stay out and get the lap back. Because now
they're going to start behind him.
Yeah, he's coming in here.
As we saw Ryan Kling flash by, there he is in the 5. So
Kling was the first one to pit back on lap 39. So that'll hand the effective lead over right now to Michael Thwaites.
Mike
Battling
Rominger.
with Mike Rominger.
Yep. Thwaites and Rominger going after each other as they have all season so far.
Hawkins is going to lose the race lead here. He's just leaving the box now.
And the question is by how much? As Thwaites and Rominger both came down on lap 44, and they've used that tire advantage as Hawkins still not clear of pit road.
Now he is. Clears it in 6th.
That means that the 42 of David Elliott is the only one, and
Elliott just passed him. Caution is out.
I don't have it.
I don't either.
Unless it was Scott Ramler. Let's find out. Oh, yes, it was.
Oh. Coming off of 4. Might have gotten a little loose.
Yeah, he was already sideways by the time we were able to pick that up. Here's Rambler, gets the apron coming through 3 and 4. Still chasing it, and sideways in the racing line is never a good thing. And to add insult to injury, he hits the Geico restart zone.
Doesn't appear that nose damage is affecting him all that much, as everyone's coming back down pit road again. I would have to assume for just fuel. Thwaites, Rominger, Hilton, Caps, Elliott, Carr, Senizak, Weeks, King.
And look who
David
won the pony.
Clayman stays out. Yep.
Clayman and Hawkins both electing to stay out as they were...
Well, Hawkins I could understand.
Right. Clayman was last down on lap 44, using this time to, lead some laps, as I'm sure this is making his mom very happy. As the Fort Bliss, Texas native showing the way here tonight, has been pretty strong all season. Hasn't had the finishes really indicative of the talent behind that steering wheel, but he has shown flashes of brilliance at every race so far.
He certainly has. Tony, if you wouldn't mind going to break for 1 second.
Sure, we can do that. We will step away and we'll be right back after this.
Ricmotech.
The search is over. The most comprehensive oval scoring solution is here. Featuring oval playoffs, adjust drivers per round, custom number of rounds, custom playoff points, provisionals, optional win and you're in, custom playoff displays, rookie championships, optional minimum participation, and load those results in seconds. Visit extremescoring.info today.
Out to get back to green flag racing here from Las Vegas Motor Speedway. Working 2 to go before green. David Clayman on pit strategy has decided to stay out, and he will now gain the race lead. GT Hawkins, Mark Hanna, James Byrne, Brandon Shirley, your current runners in the top 5. Another guy who's up towards the top, running in the 8th position, Jonathan Leach, He has also come into pit here recently. I was about to say my timing and scoring was wrong. It was showing that he came in last on lap 3. That's why I highlighted him, and I remembered, oh wait, no, he did pit. But he does have the distinction of being the last line of defense between these drivers who just came back in to top off and the rest of the guys in front.
Today's word, boys and girls, is sitting duck. Can you say sitting duck? I knew that you could. I mean, he's on the same set of tires he started the race on because he only came down on lap 3 for fuel.
Well, no, again, remember we saw the pit entry where he jumped up?
Oh, that's right, yeah. It didn't register.
He has come into pit.
He does have some of the oldest tires on track right now.
So if you listen to your partner, you would have heard that.
I never pay attention to you.
Evident.
So David Clayman going to have the button as the field works its way into the 3-4 complex. Lights are out on the official iRacing pace car. We got to get that thing a name, Frank. What are we going to name that pace car?
Very good. You just named it.
What?
The pace car.
No. As the pace car gets ready to peel on off, there it goes. Clayman has control of the field as he brings them into the Geico restart zone to start lap 57 of 167.
Boy, that outside line did not go on that restart, starting with the 23 of Jeff Taylor. That whole line just accordioned up and went accordioned back and then just didn't go.
They did at that.
Now Taylor tried to stick to the outside of the 20. Or is that the that was the 21 of Miller.
It was at that, and not working too well right now.
Wes Gant off track in the 11. At least had an off coming out of turn 4.
There he is.
There he is there in the Valvoline number 11.
A little bit further forward, we got some heat building for 8th position, as that's Taylor and Carr going door to door, 2 wide behind them for 3 rows deep.
Alex Carr leading that inside line again with Alan Hilton just behind him. Jonathan Leach, watch that inside line. Almost cut Jeremy Clifton off, and now Clifton goes all the way to the apron, getting out of that group.
Yeah, he felt that was getting a little too chippy for his liking, so.
I would say so.
And I'll be honest with you, Frank, and this is no offense to the boss man, but Jonathan Leach's car looks about as stable as my ex.
It is not looking... Again, he was involved in that incident on lap 2. See the 10, I believe that is, on the bottom there. Looking to possibly make it 3 wide. Was the 10.
That's the 10 back there in the Fruit Stripes painted car.
.23 of Taylor continues to fall back on that outside line, as there is Shirley
and Miller going door to door, going into 3.
It's for 6th between these two.
There you see Miller out of Aurora. I would assume Illinois. And don't look now, but here comes Alan Hilton out of NASCAR country himself, just up the road in Moxville. It's in between Charlotte and Hickory. Bryce Senesac making a move as well as he gets cut off going into 3. Meanwhile, at the front of this piece, you're not missing much. GT Hawkins is out to 2 3/4 seconds and stretching that gap.
That 14 is darn quick, is he not?
He is at that. Columbus, Ohio native showing how it's done here in Vegas tonight. So we're going to go back to this battle for 5th. Here you see the 8 of Hilton wants 4th from Byrne, as Byrne running the top shelf right now. Hilton has made that bottom lane work.
Certainly has. So it's the 77 now of James Byrne. Working the outside, trying to at least behind the third place car, Mark Hanna.
Hanna missed his braking zone.
Yeah, he did. Now they're 3 abreast coming out of turn 2.
Oy.
This is what we were talking about. A lot of close racing, super speedway style racing. Oh, and that's Leach and Rominger. Leach got in way too deep. Rominger with one heck of a save at the 29.
That was probably the save of the season so far, that Rominger did not put that car around. Is Frank, you know as well as I do that when you've got a diffuser in the back, you get that car more than maybe 5 degrees off center, it's probably going to swap ends on you.
Yeah, it does create quite a little bit of a vacuum that'll suck you around. But a big save from that 29. He only loses a couple spots. I'll take a couple spots lost instead of a car lost.
Absolutely. As there's Clayman and Byrne still going after each other. Actually, Clayman dropping back. Byrne getting the run up into 4th. As that's the 55 of Caps. Rawl over him, working the inside now. Caps now up into 4th. As they've got almost a full second to get to 3rd in front of them. That is the 21 of David Miller.
Hilton and Miller have gotten away from this group. They've gotten out of the side-by-side racing. They're single file, and they're really working. And around a track like this, yes, single file is a lot quicker than being in a group like this. Having to let off, having to not run the preferred ideal line you want to run. You do not want to be side-by-side for too long. Otherwise, you're just going to lose a mountain of time.
Not only are you going to lose a mountain of time, but if you're caught on the bottom side, like Bryce Senesac is right now, and you can't get the car to run off the corner, you're just eating up that right front tire, and that's the last thing you want to do in these next-gen cars.
Yeah, but the outside line also hasn't really worked all that well, as almost door-to-door contact between the 09 of Senesac and the 77 of James Byrne. Byrne will lose a couple of spots, as there's the 1 of Clifton now. 3 wide, Michael Thwaites. The 17 of Wasserman still trying to get one of his laps back. The 26 of Alex Carr was on the outside.
He was at that, as there you see Carr, and there you see the 29 of Rominger continuing his climb back through the field.
17 of Wasserman, 2 laps down at the moment. Scott Rambler and Clifton Cockrell are the only 2 drivers that are 1 lap down. As the 11 getting into the door of the 57, trying to stay off the door of the 86.
I'm white-knuckling. I'm not even out on the track.
This is why I'm not a huge fan of Vegas. You never get you want a second to breathe. You want to get a second to dissect what your car is doing and how it's handling and what you're doing to hurt it, and it's not possible.
And here comes the 29 looking to shoot it up through the middle. That's Rominger in the middle, Weeks on the bottom side, Rominger on the bottom side.
Rambler with one heck of a run out of 2.
He is at that.
But this is what NASCAR wanted to accomplish with this next-gen car.
Oh, yeah.
Was close racing like this, and this is exactly what we're getting.
But you have to put a lot of trust in the drivers around you and a lot of trust in this simulator in netcode. Because we know that netcode can ruin a race just as much as a drunk driver can.
Unfortunately for me, however,
that's usually the case.
I don't put that trust in other people.
I don't put the trust in netcode or other people. Thank you.
It's the 97 of Dennis Weeks trying to get around the 26 of Alex Carr for 14th. Not missing anything up at the front. However, David Miller and Adam Capps have found each other for what would be 3rd. David Elliott not that far off either, and these 3 1.7 seconds clear of Jeremy Clifton in 6th.
They are at that. As you're watching, there's Miller, there's Caps right behind him, and you can see Elliott kind of lurking in the background, giving himself just enough space so that should something pop off in front of him, he could take evasive action.
Now, you got to remember there is a little bit of a tire advantage here for Hawkins, is at least compared to guys like Clifton or Senizak, Michael Thwaites. Those guys did not take tires under that caution. They took fuel only. A lot of other guys did take tires. So any tire advantage that Hawkins would have had against, well, Alan Hilton or a David Clayman or a James Byrne, those guys, they've worn that off.
They have. By this point in the run, we're about 25 laps into this current fuel run. So yeah, that tire advantage is completely gone. So everybody's kind of in the same boat as Mark Hanna, who was last down on lap 48.
But even with that, GT Hawkins, with how hard he's been running, is still the fastest car on the track.
He is at that. As the next fastest is going to be back here in 6th with the 1 of Jeremy Clifton. He's the only other one to go 16-0 the last time by.
Which makes sense because he's the only other car with a lot of clean air in front of him and not battling around anyone. As once again, as we've gotten later into this run, the field has single filed out and are starting to work on trying to gauge where the tire wear is.
They are at that, and you've had now 2 tire runs. You kind of know what you're going to need to finish this piece off. Any adjustments you're going to have to make, you can make. But again, you are watching the Ricmotech Cup Series, round number 4, here presented by Extreme Timing and Scoring, as we are currently working lap 77, getting ready to start lap 78 of 167.
Byrne and Shirley going side by side for the final spot in the top 10. Byrne has that 10th position. Shirley wants it. Shirley at least on the bottom for the moment. Able to keep up at least for the moment is Mike Rominger now. Tony?
Sorry, I was working on something behind the scenes here.
As Rominger now getting that position on Byrne.
He is at that now, sets his sights and trying to reel in Brandon Shirley. Shirley's had a nice quiet run here so far, and that's really, we've seen in the first 3 races of the season, having a nice quiet race usually leads to good things later in the later going. It means you're not having to battle damage, you're not having to battle, mechanical gremlins. So don't do it.
Very close. And again, later in the run, these cars are going to be pushing a little bit. So that close side-by-side racing that we saw earlier on in the run is certainly going to start getting a little bit more tentative and close.
They are at that, as they're stem to stern in 3rd right now. That's Caps, Elliott, Miller, and Clifton all running nose to tail. There you see Caps. There is Clifton. It's the caboose of that little freight train. And that second grouping of Senizak, and I believe that's Thwaites. No, it's not. It was Senizak anyways, with the lap car that is the 17 of Brian Wasserman, starting to reel that second group in, as GT Hawkins is now out to a 6-second lead.
And again, still the fastest car on the track. Only car on track that's in the 32.0s at the current moment. David Elliott and David Miller getting close to battling with each other. That little group there of Caps, Elliott, Miller, and Clifton getting quite close with each other.
Caps with a little bit of breathing room over Elliott right now as they come off of turn number 4. There you see Caps running the line he wants to. He's got some clean air in front of him for the most part right now. There is a lap car, but he's a little bit up the road. Not going to have to worry about it quite yet. It's Clifton all over the back bumper of Miller, though. Looks to his inside, down the Nellis back straightaway. Going to slot back in and get the draft.
And what could have been for Brian Wasserman in the 17, because, again, had to come down pit road in the first couple of laps of this race to serve a penalty for passing under caution. He's been right up here with these guys in the top 10 this entire race. Unfortunately, he's stuck in 23rd, 2 laps down.
Yeah, that is kind of a downer right now. As we're going to go back to just inside the top 10. That is Rominger sitting in 9th. Thwaites in front of...
it's Ramler in the 57, who is the lucky dog, by the way. Only 2 drivers that are currently sitting 1 lap down. That would be Ramler and Cockrell. Ramler a good 6.5 seconds ahead of the number 10.
This Miller and Clifton go door to door. Clifton going to wrestle the spot away. Clifton plus 10. But your biggest mover right now is also not even in the camera shot. That belongs to this man who's leading this piece. Plus 21 currently leads the way as we are just past the halfway mark here for round number 4 of the Ricmotech Cup Series presented by Extreme Scoring. And Frank, I don't think we could have asked for a better race than we have gotten so far here tonight.
Oh, absolutely not. A lot of great side-by-side racing, especially between these guys right here. That's the 77 of Byrne. David Clayman in the 15. Byrne trying to do the old up and under. Almost caught that left rear corner.
And almost got into the door there.
A big push up. That inside line, you have to drive in so deep if you want to try to get the run on the car on the outside line, and it's going to do that all race long. 11 of Wes Gant there as well. So is Mark Hanna in the 45. 3 of Sterling. Last car running right now in 26th, about 11 laps down.
Yeah, that's not what he was hoping for here tonight at Vegas. But Clayman has a decent run going, sitting just outside the top 10 as Rambler just comes up off the apron, coming across the tri-oval in front of these guys. But, a lot of guys have had quiet races, and, we've said it before. Quiet races are usually a good thing.
Yeah, I mean, it can mean a couple of things. It can mean it could mean you've been in the back the entire race and really have had no care in the world. Or you could just have been just nice and slow under the radar. Able to move your way up, not be too dramatic.
Like a racing ninja.
Oh.
Yep.
77 and 3.
3 almost giving the chrome horn to the 77. Now, again, the 3 of Sterling is multiple laps down right now. Almost, I'm showing him at 9.
Showing him at 11.
There it is. You are correct, sir. The only one who has retired so far is Christian Gomez in 27. He retired back on lap 28. But the rest of
second about to get good here.
Oh, yes, it is.
Good
Not
5-car pack.
Well, behind them, they're going to have to get that sorted out pretty quick as Clifton and Elliott for 4th go door to door through 3 and 4.
Alan Hilton must have had a fit of looseness at the during that last lap, because he was a good 4/10 off of Hawkins.
He was at that as Miller now gets up into the top 5.
GT Hawkins right now has to be begging for the flagman to just lose that yellow flag. Just oops, don't know where it is anymore.
Pretty much, as he's 9 seconds to the good over this battle that's starting to heat up for second. There you see Hilton in the 8, Cap's right behind him, Clifton in the 1 in 4th, Miller in 5th. Then there's Senesac, and Elliott is the caboose in this little freight train along with the 17 of Wasserman, who is a lap car.
Pit stops are starting now as well. Some of the guys in the midfield starting to peel away.
Kleiman and Hannah, the first two to peel off.
Elliott now to the back of this group. Still Alan Hilton right up at the front of it. Adam Capps putting a big fight on now for second.
A little bit of aero push. 55 had a little bit of aero. Oh, my goodness.
Not as much as the 8 did, as the 8 catches the wall coming out of turn 2. Fortunately for him, he doesn't have to wait too long before he can fix that.
Well, the good news. Uh-oh.
These guys all last came in on lap 53. So 40 laps on the set of tires right now. These guys are about 5 to 10 away from bringing it in.
They are at that. Now the question is, of this top 5, who's going to be the first one to flinch? And here comes the 09 of Senesac to the inside of the 8 of Hilton.
Hilton's going to fall to the back of this group now after hitting that wall. Plus, he's been holding that group up something fierce. Just a moment ago, we said Hawkins was up to a 9-second lead. He's grown that now to 10 in just about 2 to 3 laps because Hilton was holding that group up so dramatically.
But you take a look at the last lap that Hawkins did, and as soon as I find that button, there we go.
Lap time history. Oh, that's battle box. Close enough.
So you take a look at the last lap that Hawkins put up there was a 30.24. Cap's last time by, this time 30.17. So Caps is definitely on a charge right now.
He's faster. Caps is faster than that 8 was, but still not as fast as GT Hawkins is. Hawkins is on a roll here tonight.
You are absolutely correct, sir.
James Byrne in, Alan Hilton in.
There we see Senesac and Miller going after each other for fourth. And the 1 of Clifton looking to the inside of Caps for second.
Clifton's another one of those guys that has really had a very strong run towards the end of this race. Well, towards the end of these runs.
Didn't get the qualifying run he was looking for, but plus 13 right now sitting in second. That's an impressive run.
Started in 15th. Did that one. Slowly working his way up ever since. And wow, that 55 of Adam Capps almost catching that turn 2 wall.
Hawkins is in.
With a 10.5 second lead. And here comes Jeremy Clifton as well. He's down pit road, so that will hand the lead over to Adam Capps, who, oh, by the way, will not, I don't believe, lead that lap.
It was close. But Bryce Senesac also having a pretty decent run, currently sitting plus 14. So, not too shabby.
No, a very good run for that 09 of Senesac.
As you would expect out of the primetime racing team.
Absolutely. Here comes Adam Capps from the race lead. Byrne in that 77 is going to be flying through this field now, or flying through this group here on those fresh tires. That blue and yellow Under Armour number 77. Yeah. Watch out.
If you ever want to know what fresh tires feel like, just watch the 77, folks. He feels like Superman right now. And another guy who's going to feel like Superman is the guy that gave over the race lead after coming pit side. There you see him there. That's GT Hawkins in the 14, in the 14 plus 14 right now, back in 8th position. As Senesac still stays out in the 09.
Best part about this for Hawkins is he has next to no one in front of him. He's got that 5 in front who very quickly evades. But other than that, that 14 got very lucky with this pit strategy. He's going to have a mile behind him.
He is at that, but Frank, you're looking at the how long they could stay out under green this time. We haven't seen the money stop yet.
Yeah, no, there's going to be one more, and it's going to become a question of, are you going to split this run in half as Miller and Rominger come in? Do you split this run in half, maybe pit between lap 130 and 140, or do you try to run as long as you can and just take a splash and dash at the end?
Wow.
30:04 would have put him on pole. Fastest lap of the race for GT Hawkins right there.
That is moving.
Senizak, Elliott, Thwaites all in. Miller and Rominger rolling out. Alan Hilton 10 seconds adrift of that 14 right now.
Well, the good news for him is he doesn't have any pressure from behind, and he's got clean track in front of him.
It's that 5 again. That's Hilton getting around him.
Hawkins takes the lead back over as Hilton goes up into second. 10.4 behind your race leader.
And that's not...
Go ahead.
And that's not a pitch sequence gap. That is I earned that gap.
Yeah.
Hawkins was 10.5 seconds ahead when he decided to come into pit road. Alan Hilton came in. The guy who came in with Hawkins on the same lap, Jeremy Clifton, is 14 seconds behind the race lead. So if anything, Hawkins gained another 3 seconds coming down pit road.
And the thing is, if anything, Hilton should have gotten some more track position as he got the undercut by 2 laps.
Yeah, he was down at the back end of that top group around 7th or 8th. And now he's back in second, clear by 3 seconds.
As we are watching this battle for 13th, and that's Wes Gant in the 11, Dennis Weeks in the 97. And 45 is a lap car. That's Mark Hanna. This is actually one of your closest battles on track right now.
Only the top 15 about to be on the lead lap here. Michael Thwaites, the last car on the lead lap at the moment in the 12. Jonathan Leach about to be lapped. Is lapped by Hawkins.
As Hawkins continues to stretch that lead, it's now 12 seconds.
Well, that's also, you got to think, that's also the damage on the right side of that number 8 for Hilton. He only spent 14.5 seconds in the box. So he didn't bother to get any of that right front or right side damage repaired after hitting the wall coming out of 2 on about lap 91. So that 8 is still, that is a wounded car right there. He's already, again, we just said 3.2 seconds ahead of Clifton. That's already close to a 1.5 seconds. He's 0.3 off the driver in front and behind a lap.
He is at that. Just Clayman and Carr going after each other now. Carr with a five lap newer set of tires.
Solid battle for 7th there. Clayman pitting on lap 90. Carr lap 95. The driver coming up behind them in the 21. That is David Miller. Came into pit on lap 100. An unfortunate night for the 80 of King as well. Was running up towards the top. Oh, that was the 23 that was there with them. I'm sorry. Thought it was the 80. There's the 23 of Jeff Taylor.
What just happened to Alex Carr?
Oh, Miller. Yeah, he and Miller must have gotten together because Miller was slow as well. Someone's saying I got into you coming off of the wall. That's I would have to assume it was the 26 that was in the wall. The 21 is who he came down into. Oh, yep, yeah, it was. That was quite dramatic.
Let's go back and take a look at David Miller here. Oh, yeah.
Oh, no, it was Taylor in the 23.
That went down into the 26. So let's...
Yeah, Taylor got loose on the outside of 3 wide. And, oof. Sure if he got loose or didn't realize that he was 3 wide there. I'm not sure. I think he just didn't realize that he was 3 wide.
That's what it looked like.
Great job by the 26 and 21 to save it.
That's pretty much night ruin for both of them, though. And just as I say that, there you see the 21 still climbing up through the field, working his way through lap traffic right now. Clawing his way back as he's got a lap car in between himself and Mike Rominger in front of him. Bryce Senesac right there as well. That is your battle for 6th, 7th, and 8th.
Again, we've gone over what kind of a night that Wasserman in the 17 has had. He's just as fast as these guys. That's not an ordinary lap car. In that number 17, he has been on the pace of these drivers, running about 5th through 10th here all race long. New podium as Alan Hilton has fallen off it. Both Clifton and Capps have gotten around him and have now left him by about a second. So that right side damage really affecting that 8 of Hilton.
It absolutely is, and we're to the point in a tire run where if you knock the toe out of the car, you're hanging on for dear life right now. A little bit further in the pack, that's Wes Grant, Jeff Taylor going after each other, along with David Clayman and Greg Carr.
'15th of Clayman out in front of this group. Dennis Weeks goes to the inside. Weeks will take the position.
Wes Gant looking to follow him through, as Clayman's in trouble right now.
Clayman falling back quite significantly at the moment.
I don't see any damage on that car.
No, it's just... It happens every now and again in iRacing that it's just sometimes it's a set of tires just do not agree with you. That or he's saving to try to go the rest of the way on fuel, which I can't see as being conceivable.
Not
He'd
possible.
Have to save a lot.
Yeah, we're going to have a caution filled back half of this race for him to be able to do that.
Speaking into existence now, 75% fuel fill for these guys. So there's Bryce Senesac running in the 6th position. That's Scott Ramler just about clipping the wall there. Coming out of turn 2, that'll open the door for Wasserman on the inside.
And we're talking about guys that are struggling with damage. I mean, just look no further than Scott Ramler, as he's been run over from behind. He's been shoved into cars that have spun in front of him.
Ran over someone going into pit road.
Right.
That's where that big front end damage has come from. On the 57.
I'm surprised that engine hasn't blown up yet.
It is quite the feat, I would say, because there has not been a caution since, well, actually, no, he was actually the caution since that happened. A big tail swipe.
Right.
Coming off at turn 4.
We're watching for the battle. The last spot in the top 10. Greg Carr has it. Wes Gant wants it. So they haul it off into turn number 3, stem to stern.
Oof. That 11 has got a lot of pace right now. Does have a 4-lap tire advantage.
Yeah, that should be negated by now.
Yeah, I was going to say that's something that could have been scrubbed off by this stage. Bryce Senizak and Rominger still in close contact with each other. 6th and 7th.
They've got a little bit of
Rominger
clean air in
29.
front of them as they're pulling a gap on David Miller. But I just can't get over that lead that GT Hawkins has.
Again, that's a
14
lead that he's built.
Yeah, oh yeah. 14 and a half seconds over current second place.
It's quite incredible, and still fastest driver on track. It's as if that car has not worn down at all.
Pretty much, we're gonna take a look at Clifton here for a lap. This is what Clifton is doing in second place. Watch the speedometer on the bottom right of your screen. 180, 181, 182, 184, just a flash of 185, whereas this is what Hawkins is doing.
And this is Hawkins coming out of turn 4, by the way, so he's put half a track on everyone else. Speedo glitched out there a little bit, but 185 appeared to be the same.
Yeah, but
the number you have to look at, though, and I think is what you're about to say, is the number you look at is apex speed.
Right. Which there you see it, 150, 160, 159. Where we're going to compare that with Clifton, Clifton coming into the same part of the track.
About the same.
3 mile an hour slower.
They're about the same. Hawkins did get down to about $1.75, 57. It's exactly where Clifton bottomed out at. But even still, Hawkins a 1/10 of a second quicker.
32.0 to a 32.17. As Rominger giving Senizak all he can handle right now. It's a good recovery drive for the 29. After
Absolutely.
getting that car sideways how many times tonight?
Yeah. I will say Rominger has been very quick here in this session. Only driver in practice to go sub 30. Did a 29.932. 30.052 as his best qualifying time. However, his best race time has not reflected that. It's a 30.24.
Almost 2/10 behind what Hawkins was able to put up on this after the last green flag pit stop, as he went a 30.04. So 2 full tenths to the good was Hawkins. The last time by, Rominger was quicker. Rominger the only one sub 32 that last lap.
A little bit of drafting help from Senizak, I'm sure, and also helping that Senizak's being pulled along a little bit now by Brandon Shirley in the 85, as this will be a nice little battle for 5th here in just a moment. But we're starting to get now towards decision time. Are we going to pit now, or are we going to let it run and try to pit as late as we can? Meanwhile, I think Caps may have caught the wall somewhere, because Caps has hemorrhaged time to the 1 and now is losing the spot to the 8 of Hilton. We saw how slow Hilton was before, and now these two are really about a half a second ahead of that trio we were just watching there with the 85, 09, and 29.
Here we are at that, as throw a blanket over 3rd through 7th right now.
Couple of guys deciding to come into pit. Brian Wasserman in, Jeff Taylor in. Not of consequence for the guys you're seeing on screen right now. Hilton able to get that position back. And for Adam Capps, who was running so well earlier on in this run, and talking about these guys slowing up a little bit, the 8 and the 55, they're 2/10 slower than the guys behind them and in front.
They are at that. With the exception of Brandon Shirley, he went, oh no, he did. No, you're right. You're absolutely right. I was looking at the wrong.
Oh, that was definitely the wall for the 55. They're off at 2.
Yes, it was.
Jeff Taylor.
That car does not want to turn. He's bringing it
broken
pit side now.
something,
Yeah.
Right front still appears to be attached on that 55. However, I'm sure it's not happy.
It doesn't look happy, and as a matter of fact, it looks like he knocked the toe out of the rear end. As you could see that right rear tire a little bit askew as he blows through his pit box.
Jeff Taylor had a little bit of a moment on his out lap. Just come out of pit road.
Let's take a look at that. This is Taylor a couple moments ago.
New tires out of 4.
Does a little lawnscaping coming through the tri-oval. Keeps it pointed semi in the right direction. And no caution. Battle for 10th starting to heat up. Sorry, 11th is it's Clayman and Carr going after each other.
David Miller in. Greg Carr in the 25 in. Dennis Weeks also in. 86 of Jonathan Leach. Popped for a pit road violation. Too many boxes to get to his pit stall.
Shirley and Rahman are going after each other now. Oi! Hilton was all sorts of sideways trying to come onto pit road.
But got on pit road, so these guys are doing the thing. They're cutting the run in half, which means now Senizak's going to have to cover off here soon. So is Rominger and Shirley.
And with Clifton, a 2 1/4 drop off in the tire wear, Hawkins is going to have to come in soon.
But here's the problem. Here's the thing with GT, though, is he's built up such a lead, 16.5 seconds, that he doesn't have to react immediately to what these guys are doing and still have his position. Senizak, Rominger, and Shirley do have to kind of react a little bit quicker than the 8 does, than to the 8, than the 14 has to. Even the 1 with a 3.5 second gap on these 3 can afford to wait a couple of laps before he brings it down pit road.
Well, I mean, you're right on that one. As we take a look at Hilton right now, as he came down pit road, he's actually been passed by David Miller, who came down 1 lap prior. Scott Rambler still has to do his money stop. Actually, everybody in front of David Miller, who's currently 1 lap down back in 11th, all have to come down for their final pit stop. There you see Miller,
Clifton in.
Jamie Clifton, Michael Thwaites, both coming in. That's no communication there, as the 11 just almost clobbered the 21.
He did make it known.
Hawkins
chat,
is in.
Though.
Hawkins immediately, not wasting any time, coming down pit side.
Rominger's going to react as well. So is Senizak. They're both coming in. Or Senizak, I'm not sure. Rominger did.
Yep, they are.
Yep, there they go. Rominger did say he was coming in. Shirley coming in as well. David Clayman right now will be the race leader at the moment, unless he comes down pit road. Alonzo King right behind him, as well as Rambler.
Clayman's going to stay out.
So Clayman will get a lap, at least for the moment, as GT Hawkins I think Hawkins might have been popped for speeding.
Well, let's go back and take a look at that.
Yeah, because Hawkins still in the pit box. 45 seconds. That's speeding penalty. Boy, the race was in his hands.
Right there.
Pit road speed of 50.
Yep.
Yep, pit road speed of 50. He was at 55 at the line.
Well,
so that has just opened a big door for the one of Jeremy Clifton, who will now be the effective race leader out of this cycle. No, you're right. Hilton will be the race leader. So this is a battle for the race lead right now between the 8 and the 21.
good night for David Miller too. I mean, he hasn't been involved in anything. I mean, we saw Hilton kind of pushed a little harder during the second tire stint, and he hit the wall. But we haven't seen too much out of Miller. He's been caught up in a couple of nerfs, just being bumped into, but nothing, heinous right now.
Just to put that penalty into perspective, Hawkins went from a 17-second lead to now a 30-second deficit off the race leader, running in 15th.
And he's running out of time to try to make up some spots.
He's got 7.5 seconds to the next spot he can make up. Alonzo King in the 80 still has not come into pit. He's being shown as the race leader at the moment.
With the line he's running, though, I would assume he's coming in this time.
I would have to think. Or no, he's just staying out of the way.
That's what it looks like. As his teammate in the 15 flashes by, that, of course, is David Clayman, to get himself back on the lead lap.
Last came in on lap 99. I cannot imagine.
Oh, the three amigos are at it again.
Fill.
It's Senesac, Rominger, and Thwaites going after each other. Rambler right back there as well, and I'm still shocked that Rambler's still running with all that front end damage.
I would have to agree with you there, as Alonzo King is in pit road. That gives the lead now over to Alan Hilton.
Little bit of breathing room.
Who finds himself a half a second ahead of David Miller. However, Miller has Jeremy Clifton to his inside now, and Clifton, this race might have just fallen into his lap.
It might at that, as he has been one of the fastest cars all night. Last time by, he was 600 thousandths to the good over what Hilton put up. And Clifton is on a charge right now. He is whittling that gap down. He's already pulled the 10th back.
That one has clearly been the best of the rest here in this race as compared to the 14 of Hawkins. David Elliott coming down pit road a little late. Elliott in that 42 has had connection issues, now in 19th, as here comes the one for the race lead.
He is at that. There we go. Nice. Send it going into one. Clifton to the point. Hilton falls back to second. They have a second to the good over third place Miller, who's 2 seconds to the good. Over this battle behind him for fourth. It's fourth, fifth, and sixth. Almost 2 seconds to a drift of the podium right now. But the fact that they're single filed out, not racing each other, is going to let them reel in Miller hand over fist.
Senesac leading this group, and I think he has had the better car, at least compared to Rominger in the race. That 09 has been very, very good. They'll have to make up about a second and a half, or now a second, to Miller in the 21. But a very good run for the 09 and the 29 for that matter.
Well, they're starting to reel Miller in, but if you look at the front, Clifton is starting to really stretch his legs as he's now over a second to the good over Alan Hilton.
As you would have expected, with how good that one has been, I would have very, very easily expected Jeremy Clifton to be able to get out and get away from these guys, and is exactly what he's doing. This race with that penalty to the 14 of GT Hawkins, who, by the way, sits in 13th position right now, a cool 20 seconds off the race lead. He's going to be kicking himself for this one. This is definitely
he gave this
one
one away.
That got away. Yeah.
Well, right now, Jeremy Clifton out of Statesville, North Carolina, which, for those of you who are geography majors, is halfway between Charlotte and Greensville on the west side of the state. Straight up Route 77, and you'll be golden. As here we go back to this battle for third. That's Senesac, Rominger, and Thwaites. Still all within striking distance of each other.
All within striking distance, and now battling for a position on the podium, as they've all three have gotten around Miller. And Alan Hilton had a big moment coming out of turn 2 on the last lap. So these guys, I'm sure, will be fighting over second and third here in just a moment.
They are at that. As you see Senesac closing in on Miller. And you don't realize it until you watch things happen, just how much of a momentum car this is. If you lose any of that momentum, you're going to the back. As
Absolutely.
You can see right here, Senesac and Rominger putting the 8 of Hilton under heavy pressure.
But again, you also have to put into consideration that 8 has also had a couple of close encounters with the fence coming out of 2, which has slowed him up significantly from where his pace was. He was the pole sitter for this race, so we knew he had pace in that car.
Does at that, as looking a little bit deeper in the pack. There you see Alex Carr and Jeff Taylor going after each other. Carr wrestling the spot from Taylor, as Taylor now under heavy pressure from the lap car that is Jonathan Leach. And the 15 of David Clayman right there as well.
GT Hawkins trying to make up as much ground as he can, pushing the issue a little bit. I just heard him apologize right before you changed to that camera. Apologize for a little bit of a dodgy move. Running right now in 11th in that 14. He's got 4 seconds before he gets to Wes Grant.
And he's only 1/10 quicker than Grant, so he's running out of time if he wants to get it back into the top 10. Meanwhile, battle for second still hot and heavy, as that Senesac and Romingers, they've carved out a half a second over Michael Thwaites. You can see Thwaites kind of lurking back there. But Senesac and Rominger trying to sort this out between the two of them, as Clifton is 2 1/4 seconds up the road.
Yeah, this one's pretty much done and dusted in favor of the one, unless we know what happens.
Don't say it. Don't do it.
The 10 of Cockrell. First car 2 laps down, running in the 19th position ahead of these guys. Running down on the bottom. Brendan Shirley's also gotten around Hilton. Yeah, as you would.
And at the front there you can see your race leader and what could have been for Adam Capps as well.
Yeah, he had hard contact with the turn 2 wall that slowed him up significantly. Otherwise, he was right up in that group as well. It's about a half a second off of Jeremy Clifton. This would be a battle for the race lead right now instead of Adam Capps going the lap down.
Yeah,
another lap down.
As there is Clifton, 14 laps to go. And he's stretching his lead out. He is really pushing the issue right now, as he was a 32 dead. Compare that to Senesac and Rominger, 3205 and 3203. And for that matter, Brandon Shirley, 32.06. So everybody right in that low 32 range. It's just Clifton 50 thousandths to the good on that last lap.
Yeah, just a little bit quicker, and just that little bit is really all that matters. 31.93 for Clifton this time. Senizak 32.00, 32.02 for Rominger, 31.92 for Thwaites. So they're all right about there as far as lap time is concerned.
They are. It's just Clifton decided to push the issue earlier than the rest of them, as it's now 2.5 seconds to the clear. 12 laps to go. Clifton is doing exactly what GT Hawkins was doing when just before he got popped for speeding, and that was hoping that we don't see that certain flag that nobody wants to see right now.
Clifton's hoping that if that flagman somehow did lose it when Hawkins was leading, hope he doesn't find it yet. As Rominger, start to see Rominger's going to start to get a little bit impatient here behind the 09 of Senizak. You can see him start to peek out. He's sniffing for air, trying to find a way to get a run on that 09 and find a way to capitalize without getting passed up himself, as Michael Thwaites looking very dangerous on the inside line.
Thwaites applying a lot of pressure to Rominger right now. And you want to talk about pressure, Frank? We are race number 2, or sorry, race number... We were race number 2 tonight. No, actually, we were race number 1 because the other race didn't go off. Once we're done here, Monster Energy Cup has already been underway for a little bit. They are at Atlanta. WSRL starts at 10:05, or started at 10:05, and the Ghost Xfinity Series and Thunderclap Stock Car iRacing Series will be on the air tomorrow at 8 p.m. and 8:10 respectively. And then be sure to join us Saturday evening at 8 o'clock for the next round of the Sim Racing Media Super Late Model AI Series. And Frank, where are we going to be for that one?
That will be at Nashville Fairgrounds.
Really?
We only got a couple more races to go after this. We just have Nashville, Nashville, Southern National, Hickory, and then Five Flags. So a month's worth of racing to go. And after the way things shook out at Bristol last week, that big points gap has closed quite significantly.
It has that as the curse of first place, the winner's curse, as we've been calling it. It did rear its ugly head at Bristol.
Adam Capps has pulled it off. He is done in the 55. Watching the battle for second here between Bryce Senizak in the 09 leading. Mike Rominger in the 29 in the middle. Michael Thwaites in the 12 at the back. 7 laps to go as Jeremy Clifton, 2.5 seconds ahead of this trio, hits the line.
He does at that, and they're starting to claw some time back on him. As Clifton's last time by was a 32.18, Senizak 32.12, Rominger and Thwaites 32.05.
Here's what you got to be thinking if you're Clifton, though. I'm far enough ahead, and they're not closing in enough with the time that's left before they're going to completely abandon their chase for me and start battling amongst each other for position. So I think Clifton is pretty well safe.
He is. He's thinking right now, don't overdrive the car. And that's the biggest thing. You can't stress that enough to a lot of drivers. Don't overdrive the car. Back your corners up a little bit. And battle for second, hot and heavy, as that is Rominger all over the back bumper of the 09 of Bryce Senizak. Senizak plus 14 right now.
I think Rominger was testing that line. He got a very good run coming out of turn 2. Thwaites had a very good run as well coming off the bottom of turn 2 a couple of laps prior. 09 of Senizak has been pretty content with sitting in the middle of the racetrack. Now brings it down a little bit. And you can see with Rominger going the inside line the entire way and Senizak moving down just a half a lane. Didn't quite get the run that he had gotten last time, did Rominger in 29.
He did not, but This lap looking pretty spicy as they come across the stripe. 32.16 and 32.13 respectively.
They're about identical.
Only 30 thousandths of a second separating those two in lap times. Which at 180 miles an hour, you're talking the distance from the tip of the front bumper to the center line of the front axle. If they were door to door.
3 laps to go, and they've pulled that gap in quite significantly. It's now only a second and a half to Clifton, as Clifton has really let off the gas. 32.61 for Clifton. Compare that to 32.2 for Senizak and 32.17 for both Rominger and Thwaites. 2 laps to go, though.
Rominger's going to have to put the chrome horn to Senizak if he's going to want to get by him. That's about the only thing that's going to work right now, is just send it and apologize after. 2 to go. Popsicle sticks in the air. 3 miles left in this race. Clifton, a second and a half to the good over Senizak, Rominger, and Thwaites. You can see those guys running stem to stern, second through fourth right there. They've got a second and a half to the clear over fifth place Brandon Shirley, who has a pretty sizable gap back to Alan Hilton, who is mired back in sixth right now after starting on the pole.
Yep, white flag out as Clifton has a lap car between these guys. It's the 23 of Jeff Taylor. But I just don't see Rominger being close enough to be able to make a meaningful move on Senizak here.
He's going to have to full on send it going into 3. Senizak does the same. The 15 not going to be an issue coming off of turn number 4. Does throw a little bit of a block on the 09. The 09 down to the apron. Clifton coming home with the victory. Senizak hanging on for a second. Rominger in third.
Solid run here tonight. Just 2 cautions, 1 multi-car incident. And for Clifton, a race that he was destined to finish second, but one mistake put GT Hawkins back 16 seconds. He made up 14 seconds from that 30-second deficit that he had coming out of pit road.
He is at that, and let's just wait to get our podium positions here into the Discord server. As your winner starting to do his obligatory burnouts. Frank, I believe you have third place with you now.
That would be the third place finisher, Mike Rominger. Mike, a solid race for you. You were very quick in practice, fast of all in practice, good in qualifying. Just it didn't seem as though you had the race pace here tonight.
Yeah, it took me about the whole race to figure the car out. I want to say thanks to the guys down there in prime time, because I was asking them how they was driving the track, and they gave me a pointer or two, so, it helped me out.
It looked as though you did. How difficult was it, though, to try to get a run when you were in that scenario that you were in there with Senizak and with Thwaites?
Honestly, I was just trying to hit my marks. I was, trying to size Bryce up to see if I could, get a run on him there late. I wasn't going to make a move there. I wanted to draft up to the guy leading and then settle it from there. But yeah, I was just riding right there, trying to figure out how I was going to pass Bryce if I ever had the opportunity right at the end of the race.
All right, next up we have Bristol for round number 5 of the season. Short track racing. I'm sure short track tempers are going to be flaring. What are your thoughts going into Bristol next week?
Well, it's a dirt race, right?
I believe so.
I believe so, yeah.
Well, I don't know. I'm not too good on the dirt, so I might stay out of the way. I'll try my best, though.
Anyone else you want to thank before we let you go?
Yeah, I want to thank you guys for putting up the broadcast, and Rick and everybody at Extreme, Ed up in the admin tower, and all the teammates down in primetime.
All right. Your third place finisher tonight, Mike Rominger, bud. Congratulations.
Thank you.
And joining us now, the man that he was just able to edge out, or just able to edge him out, I should say, for second place, Bryce Senesac. Talk us through the closing laps of this piece. Is you and Rominger were all over each other.
It was pretty intense. I mean, right after I made that last pit stop, I was like, just go all out, see what I can get out of it. And Rominger's a teammate. I was trying to drive hard because I didn't want to just be slowing after where he goes for a pass, but I think at the same time he might have been helping me. I don't know for sure, but so I think we were both trying to run down the one, and I had a kind of a small glimpse of maybe that was happening at the end when he caught the 15, but. Yeah, I mean,
and then you had to deal with the 15 coming off of 4.
Yeah, I mean, I was hoping we weren't going to catch him after the one past him because, I didn't want that to just ruin the second place on my end. But I wore myself out on that last stint pretty much.
Well, Bryce, we go from Sin City to the Last Great Coliseum next week as the series rolls into Bristol for what we believe is going to be a dirt race. We do need to check with Ed about that one before we go off the air, but talk us into your thoughts going into next week.
And hopefully Michigan drives a lot like Vegas here tonight. I mean, once we got a long run going, it was really fun. After I smacked the wall, I think it was like once we got the first restart, I smacked the wall, and I was being told like once we got 15 laps in, that's when the tires really go off and it starts feeling tight. And I smacked the wall on like lap 14 off of 2, like, yep, that's closing up. It's going to get tight. And then I found like a rhythm of just pretty much hitting my marks there, and then it started to help me out then the rest of the race. So, yeah, knocked a fender in once or twice, and then I got it figured out.
Well, Bryce, you were still able to hang on for second place. A very strong run out of the 09 for Primetime Motorsports tonight. Who do you need to thank before we turn you loose?
I mean, so thank you guys for broadcasting everything. Ed Morris and Ed Morris Sr. for all they do with the admin stuff, and also Ed Morris, my team owner over at Primetime. So he does good stuff over there. Yeah. David Elliott, he had a good run going. Some pit miscalculations kind of held him back, and then my other teammates, Mike Rominger and Michael Bracer, they're like right behind me, and we're pretty much on the similar strategy at the end, and it all paid off pretty good for all of us. And then and then also gotta congratulate Jeremy Clifton there. I mean, I got through all the guys that I had so much pressure tires, and then I saw him, but then it wasn't until like I got through all those guys. I saw, we were pretty much on the same strategy, and so it was a bit of a letdown because I thought I was set up for a win there at one moment, and so it's all just trying to close the gap down, but we were pretty much at a stalemate at that point.
Well, Bryce Senesac, congratulations on the podium here at Vegas, and I stand corrected. We're actually at Michigan next week, so best of luck to you then.
Oh, it's
Michigan next week.
It's Bristol.
I'm looking at the schedule now.
Michigan,
Don't
and
argue
then
with me.
Bristol dirt after that.
Right.
They flip-flopped them. No, you're right.
So hopefully Michigan, we keep the top 5 streak going, and then Bristol, we can just say wave goodbye to that top 5 streak.
Absolutely. So, again, congratulations on the podium here. Best of luck to you next week at Bristol.
Thank you.
Or Michigan, sorry. I did it again.
Doesn't matter.
And
Whatever.
Frank, I believe you've got the man of the hour with you now.
I do. Jeremy Clifton, boy, you had a race fall into your lap, did you not?
Yeah. When GT's in our chat and said, I just got a speeding penalty, my heart started pounding. I was like, man, if I can just keep it together, I can win this thing.
you had a very, very good car, able to work your way up through the field after starting in 15th. A nice solid run for you. How difficult was it to try to make moves knowing how close this pack was, and seemingly any mistake you made had you fallen back about 4 or 5 spots?
Yeah, it was tough getting through traffic. That's for sure. But I had to kind of just be patient, and I knew once most of the guys that were in front of me would burn their tires off in the first 5 to 7 laps. If I just hugged the bottom, let off getting in and hug the bottom, I'd get around them, and it's kind of what I did. I started getting frustrated a little bit, and I was just calm down, like just let it play out, run the bottom, and it'll come to you. So it worked out for sure.
It certainly did. And how big was, I mean, forget about the issues that GT had, just that last pit stop of not making a mistake, just trying to hit the marks in the box, not go through too many pit boxes to actually get to your pit stall. How tense is that moment?
It's super tense because I actually overran my box on the first stop or second stop coming in. I overran it. And I was just like, no mistakes, please don't make any mistakes. And I kept tapping the brake and slid it in there. And I was like, all right, good. Well, at least I didn't blow that. And then watching the speed coming out, I didn't want to speed, especially after GT said that he did. So.
All right, we head to Michigan next week. What are your thoughts going into the big racetrack in Michigan?
It's going to be a fun one for sure. I ran there in the officials this past week and had some decent luck, so it should be fun.
All right. Anyone else you want to thank before we let you go?
Yeah, I got to thank my sponsor, Glory Polco. They make awesome and great flagpole mounts for truck hitches and gooseneck hitches for trucks. And then the Skynet team and Carolina Waterjet for cutting all the parts and stuff for our company. So, and you guys for putting it on for sure.
All right, your race winner here tonight, Jeremy Clifton. Bud, congratulations.
Thank you, sir.
And Frank, we just have another one in the books as we're bringing up the finishing order here now. We already talked to Jeremy Clifton, Bryce Senesac, and Mike Rominger, your top three. Michael Thwaites able to hang on for fourth. Brandon Shirley climbing through the field, coming home in fifth. Alan Hilton hanging on for sixth. Seventh going to David Miller, Dennis Weeks, Greg Carr, and Wes Grant rounding out your top 10. Heartbreak for GT Hawkins after giving it away with a speeding penalty, coming into the pit too fast. Did claw back to 11th. Alex Carr, Jeff Taylor rounding out your lead lap cars in 12th and 13th.
David Clayman, Scott Ramler round out the top 15. That would leave Alonzo King, Jonathan Leach, Clifton Cockrell, James Byrne, and Mark Hanna rounding out the top 20. Ryan Kling, Maxwell Shade, David Elliott, Adam Capps, John Sterling down to 25th. Brian Wasserman pulled it off early, and so did Christian Gomez. He was done after the first about 15 to 20 laps.
So that is going to do it for us tonight for the Ricmotech Cup Series. Be sure to join us tomorrow night for the Ghost Xfinity Series at 8 p.m. and the Thunderclap Stock Car iRacing Series at 8:10. For Mr. Frank Marchese, this is Tony Trapasso. Remind you, ladies and gentlemen, that as you walk down the road of life this week, do me a favor and don't play in traffic. We'll see you next week, everybody. Good night.
Ricmotech, high-performance sim racing equipment. There's only one place to go, Ricmotech.com. Ricmotech, high-performance sim